Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Tell me your evilest secret.
I had a girl who actually loved me, and I hurt her emotionally. My jealousy took over, and I accused her of cheating despite the fact that I had no proof. I called her names, and she begged me to just stay with her. Towards the end of the relationship, I disrespected her terribly and accused her of not loving me despite the fact that she busted her ass trying to please me. She was always there for me, and I destroyed her emotionally and mentally. For a while there, I hated her. I don't know why, I had no right to, and she was a far stronger person than me in every way. I should have been happy with her, but all I did was fall to my jealousy and scream at her. I wonder why I'm not married yet.
I know this feel. So, what happened to the girl?
She's fine now as far as I know. I stay away from her. She stays away from me. It's all squeaky clean. I've long since realized I'm better off alone. I can't handle people loving me.
I've done some things I'm not proud of. I'm 47 now and have served my time. Been in a street gang since age 19. Didn't leave until my arrest at 27. The worst thing I've done was take a man out back and torture him. Broke every bone possible in his legs and feet and plucked out a few teeth. Only owed us $100. Shot him in the back. He was paralyzed. Get arrested. Leave the gang. Meet man since then and pay him $500 out of shame.
How is $500 even enough to pay back the damage you caused him? Why would anyone go through that much trouble over $100?
I have a tremendous amount of empathy for my fellow human beings, but generally speaking have no idea what to do about it. I haven't been diagnosed with Asperger's, though I have thought about the possibility. I'm afraid that a situation will come where I have to act, but can't figure out how to do so. I empathize heavily with people who commit street crime. Our world is not one where everyone can get by with a 9-to-5 job or can even obtain said job. So I'm pretty sure if push came to shove, I would let people get away with crime if I saw it. Possibly murder, because I can understand that the person who committed the murder was probably screwed up in the head and needs help, not necessarily punishment. Probably not that evil, but whatever. I'm a confused 20-something who sees a therapist of her own will, and I'm afraid of guns, so I don't think I can do anything too evil to the world.
I can feel emotions for the most part, and generally am a well-mannered person, but I often like to fantasize about doing unusual things to people. To go into detail, I imagine kidnapping people and messing with their bodies while I wear surgical gloves. Other times, but only when it comes to people I strongly dislike, I like to imagine burning them with cigarettes, making cuts on their bodies, etc. Really anything that will cause them to display fear and pain on their faces. I will never act on it, of course. I have a job and hobbies that keep my mind off it most of the day.
I have pretty much the exact same issues, like almost word for word, yay, X, and the ASPD spectrum, but mine is focused more on people I'm attracted to rather than people I dislike. It's messed up as all hell, or so society tells us. I have outlets and kind of act out the bad stuff.
When I was about 12, a friend of mine's granddad died. We were cleaning up his house. We got bored and decided to explore the shed. On a shelf was a bottle marked poison with no label, just a white powder. I put it in my pocket and took it home, hid it in my room and forgot about it. Sometime later, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, my friend reminded me that I had it, and could I meet him and bring it with me? We didn't open the bottle or know what was inside it. My friend, being a bit beta, wanted me to throw it away, so I did, then went back for it later. A while later, my family went on holiday somewhere in England. I took the jar with me well. I got curious. I put some in one of those old-style sugar dispensers and left it on the table. About 20 minutes later, we were outside on the beach, and the cops and an ambulance turned up. The guy and kid came out on a stretcher. Later, I heard they were both dead. I got home and hid the jar under the floorboards. I felt incredibly powerful.
Sleepwalking story. Staying at my parents' house with my GF a couple years ago. Pretty drunk. GF and I go to sleep. Apparently, I get up in the middle of the night and walk towards the window. Open shutters. The sound wakes my GF up. I open the desk drawer. She yells, "That's not the bathroom." I begin my business and yell back, "I know it's not the bath." Finish pissing and close the desk drawer. Close the blinds, walk to the bathroom and wash my hands. Finally wake up and semi-realize what I've done. Attempt to clean it up. The next day I used a carpet cleaner and removed the stain from the carpet, but not my honor. It happened one other time, a few months later, but my GF recognized what was happening and guided me over to the toilet. I don't even remember that. Oh, I didn't black out those 2 times. I just didn't use the restroom before bed. Not really spooky, but makes me wonder what else I've done sleepwalking.
I've nearly died so many times that I've lost track. The last number of times I remember was 63.
Do you think you might be immortal?
Hell no. I'm just damn lucky. Here's one of my stories I shared with Kay. For reference, 12B is a combat engineer. Be in Afghanistan, be 12B, be doing route clearance on a steep mountain road, pick up a weak signal on my minesweeper, switch to ground-penetrating radar, lights up like New York City on New Year's Eve, call it in and proceed to find out what it is. After doing some probing, I began to dig the thing up. My feels when it's an old, as balls Russian wooden landmine. Everyone helping me decided to back off because the mine is massive. No one to help me with the mine. Have to manhandle the mine out of the ground by myself. I keep dropping the mine because it's heavy, eventually get it out of the ground, drag it over to the cliff that was the edge of the road, radio in that I'm disposing of the mine, and I thank everyone for their help, the bastards. Kick mine off the cliff and lean over to watch the mine fall. It falls about 100 yards and lands on a mountain goat and detonates. Shockwave knocked me back, and I fell over and hit my head on a rock. Take my helmet off to feel if I'm bleeding. My face when there's a goat horn stuck in my helmet. I left it there as a trophy.
I was about 9 or 10 or so, 6th or 7th grade. There was this asshole kid that was bullying me all the time. I was rather the quiet kid at school. I didn't have many friends, and I was rather good at school, and rather learned for school instead of meeting friends, playing soccer or something. One guy we were playing table tennis with, and a thing that kind of happened every time was that if someone doesn't have a racket, he just plays with his bare hands. When I lost the game, damn it, this kid had his turn and said, "Hey, give me your racket." I said no, so he ran away after me, insulting me and punching me. As I said that he should stop that shit, or I was going to tell my teacher, who was too pacifistic to do shit either. This kid didn't even listen to him. Then he kicked me in the head with some wannabe kung fu shit. He barely hit it, and since he is just a wannabe and doesn't know shit about how to perform a proper kick, it didn't even hurt that much. Then, at my way home, I was lost in my mind listening to music, and I ran against a streetlight and lost a tooth and got a bruise on my forehead. When I was home, my mom asked me something like, "Lel, what happened?" And I said that guy punched me in the face, so I lost the tooth and got the bruise. She contacted the school principal, and this guy got beat by the principal pretty badly. Now, why is he such a bad and notoriously violent kid? Probably his family is in a bad situation, and he hasn't been raised correctly. Never minded, at the end, his mother raged so much that she humiliated him in front of the whole class and gave away his pets, a dog and a lizard. After that, he switched schools. I don't know if that's as evil as I thought it was when I was a kid, but you guys are honestly the first people I've told this secret in my entire life.
X. Do you believe some people are evil personified and have the ability to harness their bad actions as literal power? Be me. Born into a family with dark secrets. Evil, vile woman for a mother. I get the hell away from my family at 17 and keep my whereabouts a secret by avoiding putting my name on any lease. Live with my girlfriend in secret, essentially. Purposely avoid social media. Fast forward, I have children now, and I've moved on from the trauma of my past. One night, I get phone call. It's my mother. Instead of hanging up, I hear her out. We have a long conversation catching up, but I am cautious. She asks where I live, and I refuse to tell her. Well, maybe one day we'll work towards that, and I can see the kids. That very night, my mom died. Fast forward again. I have a dream that I'm woken up in the middle of the night to a knock on my door. I get up and look out the peephole and see nothing. I open the door and a shadow is standing there. The shadow walks into my person and I shoot awake, covered in sweat. I know it was her. Things start breaking around the house all at once. Weird shit pops up on my phone and computer as autofill or predictive text. Start to see my mother's name everywhere. My wife suggests saging the house and does so. During the process, blinds break off the window and the power goes out. My wife pauses to assess everything and then forgets to continue saging. I nod off on the couch for all of 3 seconds. The moment I'm unconscious, a bloody gored-out face fills my vision and it shouts my name, Anon. I jolt awake. Not only do we sage the house, but we do a bunch of other shit to rid the house of evil spirits. I never told my wife all the terrible things about my family and feel it necessary to tell her. She weeps. We literally break the lease and move. Nothing like that has happened since. Was my mother possessed, or was she a demon incarnate?
I threatened a man's kids once, then beat him up when he got all emotional on me for it. Threw pictures of them playing in their house at him. Never saw a poker face crack that fast. The sick part? It was all for money. He stole $300,000, and I was doing it not for the money. The man he stole it from was a friend of mine.
I have literally no idea if I have killed someone in my life. People have died not far from me in very suspicious circumstances, or even blatant foul play, and several times my memory of the time of death is completely gone. It's sort of scary to me, but I'm pretty sure it's not got anything to do with me. I just have a bad memory.
Blackouts are a symptom of multiple personality disorder, now called dissociative identity disorder. Unless you were seriously screwed up, I think you'd probably remember. But yeah, I guess none of us truly know whether we've been even passively responsible for someone's death. Like maybe you bumped into someone whilst walking along, causing them to be delayed on their journey by just a couple of seconds, which then lead them to be struck by a car that would have otherwise missed them. Who knows, man?
Like 5 days ago, I drank too much complimentary boxed wine at this Mediums Expo at an occult bookstore in Brooklyn called Catland. I threw up everywhere, and one of the guys chased me out and said never to come back. Would highly recommend that shop, some really alien shit there.
It really disturbs me. I don't know what was wrong with me. I was just really angry. 4 years ago, I broke up with my last girlfriend by never talking to her again. I left a ton of stuff in her room. I was cheating on her. Granted, so was she, but I was confrontational with her about it, whereas she didn't know what I was doing. I dream about her and her family all the time. One of my worst fears is that she'll find me now and out me as a really shitty person, and everything will explode in my face. Because of these regrets, I am trying to be gentler to all living things, because I feel thoroughly sick when I think about what kind pain my thoughtlessness has caused.
I lie so much. I like to try and rationalize it as my sense of humor when people find me out. But in reality, I'm just a compulsive liar. People ask me things and I just lie. I don't know why.
I once changed my brother's foot pills. Long story, he had a lot of foot problems, with laxatives and antidepressants. For a while, he thought he was just sick and that the pills weren't working enough, so he ended up taking a lot and getting sick and vomiting and, of course, constantly emptying out his intestines. So after a day or two of him taking more of them, I woke him up in the middle of the night, but I put on some old The Scream robes from an earlier Halloween and said that if he wanted his suffering to stop, he had to give his soul to me. And in his crying, desperate state, he said yes, and I walked out. Then quickly ran back into the kitchen and swapped the pills back out with his actual medicine. And of course, a day later, he got better. And now my brother cries himself to sleep sometimes because he thinks he sold himself to the devil.
I used to babysit for a single mom. She would leave at night for work and the occasional date, and I charged $5 an hour. She'd have this little shit of a kid who made it hell for the first few times. I got tired of it, but liked the money too much. So to make it more easier, I told him if he acted out once more, I'll punish him. So obviously my warning was promptly ignored. So I acted on it. I warmed up an iron with boiling water and held it to his face. It wouldn't actually hurt him, but it gave him enough of a scare that he'd scream, tremble, and inconsolably weep. After all of his theatrics, he'd calm down and go to sleep. I even went as far as to accidentally trip him up when he was running around the room. He caught the edge of the coffee table once and cut his forehead pretty good. Just said he was running around like he usually does. And whoops, untied shoelace.
I plan on killing people for a living in the army as soon as my felony record is cleared and they don't have a record of my prison time. Problem, hippie scum?
If you're a psychopath, you'll get kicked out because you can't function properly. If you're not, enjoy your PTSD.
I intend to enjoy your bong.
You are dense as fuck.
And insane. But the military will see right through him. One of the first things they do is weed psychos like him out.
Be late 90s. Go to Iraq for reasons. I get to go to one of Saddam's palaces for reasons. The place has gold walls and shit. Tour guide is pretty laid back. At 12:30, she takes us to a room for lunch and leaves. The room has glass doors that open onto a beautiful lawn and garden. Few of us go outside to eat on grass. Sees grass going around the side of the palace. I wonder what's around there. .jpg. 3 of us went to look while holding sandwiches. Turn the corner. There's a 100-foot-long missile on wheels laying on a football pitch-sized lawn. There's another identical one just behind it. A skinny Iraqi dude sees us and runs over. "Sorry, you no allowed to be here." The tour guide suddenly shows up behind us and takes us back to the group. Few years later, US invade Iraq. Weapons of mass destruction never found. Unrelated, few months later. Goes back to Iraq for work reasons. Investigates a northern town hit by a chemical attack. Evidence points towards blank. Heads home after a few days. I give the editor the story. Few days later, I got invited to the US by Transatlantic Journalism Group for a conference. All expenses paid. Gets there. It's 5-star hotel on a golf course. Treated like a king. On the second day, there's a knock on my room door. 2 guys in casual suits want to chat. Introduce themselves as blank. They've read my story. Tell me if it goes public, all kind of bad shit will happen. They give me a folder with info on what, they say, happened. And an alternate version of the story that I should give to the editor. They offer me non-official cover status and imply I'll be well paid. Agrees. I spend 2 more days in the jacuzzi before going home. Give the story to the editor. The story appears in national and world press 2 days later. Received payment via anonymous bank deposit into my account. Travels to the US 7 more times in following years. The same 2 guys turn up with info I should use for stories. Always treat me like a king. Never checks the facts once, just write it up as given. My face when I realize I'm Illuminati. I've got a year to live and haven't exposed you. Don't bother coming for me. I accept defeat. This is just for my own entertainment. Also, fuck you.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.